When it comes to the topic of servers in MLBB, one thing is always common. Everyone hates their own servers. Or, at least for solo queue players. While it's agreeable that 5-man teams may vary between each servers, majority of the players on this game are still solo players.
And these are my teammates, literal trash.
And the environment down there is something else, for sure. I have done several server dives videos on this channel, but those were never quite in-depth, so I took on the task of investigating each server properly, all by myself, in solo queue. So first off, how did I do this? I switched between 4 major servers after each game, up until I played up to 100 total games. These 4 servers I picked weren't random. They were selectively picked with a purpose. Namely, Indonesia, known for having the largest player pool of players, Philippines for having some of the best talents, India for being so-called the dark system server, and Malaysia, which comes in somehow between the middle ground in all of these. I set off starting right after the season reset, when we all went back to Epic to really test it out, since early resets are when both all the good players and bad ones get mixed and mashed together. I live-streamed the games here on my channel, and here is what I found out. First off, the Indonesia server, I ended up with a win rate of 72%, which was actually quite decent to say. I also want to point out that I tried my best in every match to win, so that the results will not be skewed towards any server. So all I did was pick my comfort heroes, which mostly ended up being Bane. This server had a lot to pack. The result of the dense player pool was easy to see, as the queue times were actually really short, and I would instantly get matched up in a second. The players here only speak their own language, so the only times I would actually understand them was then they would use curse words, to which I could tell they were trash-talking. Besides that, the drafting and hero picks in this servers were mostly good picks, aside from the occasional one-trick Hanabi and Zilong players who would play their heroes no matter what lane. The games I played here were also mostly kind of one-sided, where the winning team would just completely destroy the losing team. It was hard to find games where it would turn out to be a back-and-forth swing, which definitely isn't that fun, so as to say. While I keep getting comments about how this server is really toxic, I think it's definitely much more tame as compared to other servers, because I noticed that this server generally has more quieter players compared to other servers like India or PH, which I will expand more on later. On a better note, the games did somehow get more intense and interesting as I ranked up further into the ladder, and I would definitely say that this server is not as bad as people say. If you're good enough, you can definitely rank up if you play consistently well, and to the ones who keep saying your teammates are the reason you can't rank up. Just get good, man. Next up, going through the Indian server, or so-called the Dark System server. It's widely regarded as one of the worst, not just by outsiders, but Indians themselves call it the worst, at least for solo queue. I had a win rate of 64% on this, which is lower compared to Indonesia, but by surprise, it's still not the lowest from the list of servers I played from. The queue times on this server were actually quite long, going up to almost a minute each game, while in other servers, it was almost always consistently under 30 seconds. One thing that stood out is that the games were significantly easier at the start, but got harder. As I ranked up, I started losing more, and all for the wrong reasons. I was able to single-handedly carry games at the beginning, but as I progressed further, it felt like the enemies got better while my teammates stayed the same, which ended up losing me quite a lot of really easily winnable games. I kind of get what the players complain about, but it's still definitely rank-up-able if you're good, because not all matches are out of your control. This server is also definitely the most talkative, because this guys would use chat non-stop once it starts, even to the point of going AFK for a good while, which actually impacts your game more than you realize. It's good to know that sometimes you just gotta shut up and play the goddamn game. No one cares about your feelings, man. It's just a mobile game. Other than that, I think this server is definitely way behind the rest, but that's probably because majority of the players here don't give a shit about getting good. Either way, they're just here to play games. Then we have the Malaysian server, which was supposed to be the middle ground, but ended up having the worst win rate of 56%, which might just be bad luck, but I did try my best in each game to make sure I give each server a fair chance. Although I did lose most of my matches here, the games weren't really that one-sided. It's not like I was facing off against a 1 versus 5 alone. If anything else, they played decently well. The drafting was also on point, and there were barely any one-tricks or Hanabi players that I encountered. Besides that, I don't think I saw any Malaysian complain about Malaysia server anyways. What can I say? Malaysia's just a chill server. And finally, we have the PH server, with a staggering win rate of 84%, which is actually really high. While I did lose a few games thanks to dumb teammates here and there, honestly, this server has the best player base in the entire game. From drafting to game sense, they're just way more experienced. If you're anything above an average player, then as long as you do your job, your team is able to back you up for most of it. Only those who have experienced playing in servers with bad players will be able to tell.
Indo server is actually harder than this because, to be honest, the peach players are good. NA server is most harder. In my opinion, solo rank is much easier than the NA server, which is surprising.
This server actually rewards good players for being good, unlike the servers where even good players get punished just because of the inexperience of your teammates. This server is also probably has one of the most talkative players, which can be good or bad, depending on how you play the game. So I understand the sentiments of those getting scolded because it probably isn't fun, but other than that, I believe this is the ideal server while every server should aim to be like. These PH players who complain about PH really don't know what they're complaining about, man. Their server is literal heaven compared to the rest. Guess they'll only know how good they have it when they start playing on different servers. In the end, I think servers with better players will always feel easier for skilled players, because there are fewer people actively dragging the game down. On the other hand, servers with less experienced players tend to make good players struggle more, simply because you're constantly pooled together with people who don't understand the game yet. But that's kind of the whole point of this video. There's really no use stressing over things that are completely out of your control. A lot of players get stuck blaming servers, matchmaking, or teammates, and that frustration just carries over into the next game, then the next, and it ends up affecting even more people. At the end of the day, the only thing you can actually control is how well you play. So just focus on improving, doing your job properly, and playing your best no matter what kind of team you get. Because honestly, that's the only real way forward. This video was mainly just me documenting my own experience. I know everyone's experience will be different, and I'm not trying to claim this applies to everyone. I simply did the best I could by playing as many games as possible and switching servers regularly to keep things fair and maintain rank consistency. This video was not meant to demean or put down players from any server. I genuinely believe every server has really talented players. It's just that sometimes they get blurred out by the sheer size of the player base. So please don't use this video as an excuse to attack or belittle others. That's pretty much it for this video. Thanks for watching, and stick around for more content like this. I mainly wanted to show that, yes, you can win if you're good enough. And constantly crying about your team or your server doesn't really prove anything. Instead of changing everything or blaming others, just focus on fixing your own mistakes and improving.